Champions, just a surprise little 5-minute review here. I got some new toys from Stewmac. I've always wanted these. Up until now, they've been very costly, and I joined Stewmac with a Stewmax membership, and I think that allowed me some discounts. Still got bent over a bit with the import charges, the customs adding their arbitrary little fee on top like they do. Well, plus GST. Stewmac used to charge GST. For some reason they've stopped doing that. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's below a certain amount they do. Don't know. Couldn't be asked trying to figure it out either. But anyway, I've always wanted some sanding beams. Now these ones are made from extruded aluminium, as we call it over here, aluminium. We just love having extra syllables. It's what we do. Australia. Now, they're made from extruded aluminium, and extruding aluminium in a custom profile is a very expensive process. Trust me, I've looked into it in the shop fitting industry in my past life. Had some profiles we had to do for a job, a large architectural project, and even at multi-million dollar budgets, it still wasn't worthwhile doing a one-off run of a custom extrusion. So essentially, they have a big slug of aluminium, probably like a 300 mil, 12-foot diameter friggin' rod, girthy, and they heat fuck out of it, or not. Heat fuck out of it. It's still not emitting light. Aluminium goes molten. It doesn't emit light like steel and stuff does. So it still looks like aluminium, but it's hot, and they force it hydraulically through a die, which has that profile there as its final little orifice to the outside world. And the molten aluminium gets forced around the support webs and stuff in the die, and then it eventually comes out in that shape there. Now it ends up a little bit twisted, not dead straight, so once it's been extruded, a clamp jams onto that side, clamp jams onto that side, and it stretches a little bit, pulls it straight, and then it goes into a rack and cools down. Now, of course, this has a profile to suit the handle, sort of the two hand grips here. But then on the bottom, they've got a machine surface, because it wouldn't make sense to have a different die for every single radius that you need, this one being the 10-inch radius. It's still covered in schmoo from the factory there. I have to clean that off. So what they do is they probably do it to like a 12-inch radius or 6, whatever the biggest radius is, and then the smaller ones probably all of them they machine. We'll find out soon when we open them all up, champions. But they machine them with what looks like a fly cutter, and they've got the fly cutter on an angle, like it's either the head or the bed that it's being fed on is inclined. So you've created a curve there. A little bit hard to check with my radius gauges, but I'll see if I can hold one on there and just confirm all the radius. But in the photos on the website and stuff, it never shows that surface, so it didn't occur to me that that's probably the most economical way to do it, but thinking about it now, it's quite obvious. So what's got me through my career so far is just using these little buggers. Again, from Stewmac, putting their kids through college, I am. So that's just probably done on a spindle cutter. They've probably got custom machine blades, got the radius there, then they've got two profiles. Probably got a single router cutter to do the handle cuts on the edge as well. And they work very well. It's just in shorter lengths, you've got to be a bit more careful about like the trueness and the straightness. You can end up with a twist if you let your lazy bones take over. So what I generally do is use these, and a combination of that and the straight edges up there. Got a nice Veritas made in Canada, 1/4 inch thick or so straight edge there, and then I've got the sanding beam next to that, which is machined, which is surface ground on both sides. Stick on some abrasive, and Bob's your uncle. So by using those two, just checking the straightness of the neck as I go, and then checking the radius with the gauges, and just sanding a little, checking a little, sanding a little, checking a little. Slower process, but you can get there in the end. However, with these, I can just bloody go for it. And the other thing they're great for is clamping fretboards. So clamping a new fretboard to the neck, say you've done a truss rod replacement or something like that. So yeah, very much looking forward to getting these out and getting them angry. We'll put some, probably go like 600 grit wet and dry on there for doing frets, and then probably like 180 or 150 grit aluminium oxide sandpaper for sanding timber, like trimming a neck before we refret it, that kind of thing. So let's just have a look at all the other ones, all the other radii. Alright, this is interesting. So the 10-inch one came in like a blister pack, cardboard, unmarked, vacuum packed, whatever. And all the others have come in bubble wrap and, made in China. I guess I paid a tariff on that one. And they have some stick-on like gasket material, looks like. Maybe that's just, is that just cardboard to protect it? Yeah, it's just cardboard to protect it. Ooh, that's a very different pattern. Almost looks like a, I'm not sure. That's a very strange pattern on that, if you look closely. Probably hard to make out on the camera there, but there's like a diagonal, almost like it was done with a ball end mill. Would have taken forever. Not sure. If there's any machinists in the crowd that recognise that pattern, sort of got lines going one way and the other. Interesting. Very pretty. I don't know what the radius is like, but that's got a more of a texture on it, like it's been powder coated on this one, whereas this one's anodized. Looks like black anodizing or painted. I don't think that's a powder coat. It looks like anodizing to me. You can still see the extrusion lines in it, whereas you can't on this one. So it looks like two different manufacturers. I'm not sure if maybe the tariffs have affected stuff and now they're making them locally. Yeah, right. I'm sure there's plenty of aluminium foundries in the US of A. There's quite a few over here. Alspec, I think, is the biggest one. Alright, so that's the same as the 20. Got a bit of cardboard there, and also made in China. Yeah, every one of them's a little bit different. That's got some like maybe some galling on the cutter there. It appears to be, yeah, a series of straight faces on that one. Is that the case on this one? Might be hard to tell because it's only 20-inch radius. We'll be able to tell a lot more once we get the real small radius ones out. I'm so excited to try these. It's going to make it a lot easier, a lot quicker, a lot more confidence inducing. Love confidence. Let's see if I can put a knife through my hand and have a few days off work. That's the last thing I need right now. So far behind on the repair queue, champions. But hopefully this will help me catch up on a few jobs. Alright, 9.5-inch radius. What's this one look like? Yeah, so the lines are becoming more obvious as we go to smaller and smaller sizes, but when we look at the curve, you can't make out the segments at all. It's just a reflection. That'll be taken up by the glue and the sandpaper, not a problem. You won't see that at all in the final sanding of the fretboard. Just curious how they machined that. Very interesting. I mean, I would have assumed the fly cutter method would be the most efficient. So many questions, so little knowledge. Alright, there's the 7 1/4, the smallest radius of the lot. You can't feel the segments to the naked finger. Bit of a sharp edge there. I might have to deburr that, or I might end up cutting my fingies. Alright, so we want to store them in a safe place. I'll dedicate a drawer to them because I don't want to dent them or hurt them at all. We'll find a safe little spot for them, and I can't wait to put them to work. It's going to be so good, so good. It's going to inspire so much confidence when gluing and truing up a fretboard. Ideally, when you're doing a refret and you're doing some fretboard sanding before you reinstall the new frets, you want to take as little as possible off those new frets to give them the longest possible life and the most consistent feel up and down the neck. So you want the fretboard to be as straight as possible prior to pressing them in. So that's where these will really come into play. We can take out any unevenness at all and really get a nice looking refret. Of course, I don't trust anyone, so we'll just have a quick look with the straight edge. I'll line it up with one of those facets, and there is not even a hint of a gap there. That's perfect. Because I'm so cynical and jaded, I'll just check every one of them. Yeah, they're all looking really good. So I'm not sure what happened with the pricing there. I seem to remember them being like exorbitantly expensive, or just outside of my reasonable budget. It would have been like a nice to have, but can you do without kind of thing. But then all of a sudden, I got them for about, I worked out being about 1,600 Australian dollars, including tax. It was about 1,200. Then the dickhead down at FedEx rang up and wanted more money. I think they wanted about 350 or something to import them, something like that. It didn't make sense. So I got them to send me a itemised invoice, and yeah, admin charge, tax, GST, admin charge you for sending the email. Just like lawyers. To other techs out there, never feel afraid to charge for your own time, because literally every other fucker on the planet does too. So you're just passing it on to them. So yeah, some funny artifacts there in the machining. We've got some, looks like it might have been chattering there. But then we've got lines going this way. Then we've got dots, but then we've got those facets. So it really puzzles me how they machine these things. I'd really like to know, but yeah, probably never find out. The only one I do know how they machined was this one. This one, again, seems like the most logical way to do it, and hopefully they carry on that way. And I do like the anodized finish, however, the grip on them is pretty cool too. Nice, nice textured finish. Anyway, champions, like I said, a 5-minute review. I've probably already run over that, so take it squeezy. Catch you on the next one. Give me a thumbs up. I won't say where, but, you know, I just said but. Damn it. Oh, and do me a favour and don't tell Michelle I bought these until I do the first job with them and they pay themselves off, alright? Thanks, champions. See you on the next one.